okay
Yeah.
now. Tell us why you're so hoarse. Here's Kyra. She has a hoarse voice today.
I do. Well, I could
But
sing
you
jazz.
had one last at
well,
the
it's the
TEDx
night work.
thing.
The little.
You've had this for a
at the
while.
actual TEDx. Oh,
at the TEDx
at the thing.
orientation meeting.
Okay, well, that was because I just
Everybody's sorry
just flown in from a conference.
That's right.
An hour before.
My phone is not behaving. I'm sorry, everybody.
Your feet are weird.
My feet are weird. My feet on my thing are like
Can you
not.
fiddle with the feet?
It's like I am dead. Leave me alone, Mich.
I think you need to make more of a triangle.
I think you're right. There we go. Oh, look at that.
I bumped
See,
it. I'm
you
bad.
get a scientist in the room and magical things happen.
My name's Rich.
Rich,
That's
I moved
Rich.
it.
Okay,
I
that's
bumped
fine.
it with my
Yeah,
shoulder,
that's
so
okay.
Doesn't matter.
I
It's
fixed
fine.
it.
As long as you're like blah blah blah
Yeah,
talking
I mean-
in it, you're good.
As long as you're not like looking over here.
Or you're not
way
like
back
so.
there.
I just look at you.
Like yeah, you like then it won't be. You gotta be like so. It's like
Sure.
talk into
If I
the
have a problem, I'll,
microphone.
like,
Don't
throw
eat the
something.
microphone.
Yeah.
That's actually
So okay, did you just say you sing jazz?
No, I'm saying with my sleep-deprived voice, I should take it up.
Oh
Yeah.
you can have that whole sultry thing going.
That, or as my husband says, he says, sometimes you sound like you're up to 2 packs a day. I don't.
You actually don't, because because you know that voice is usually like that, kind of like that.
Well, this is, by the way, with a lot of tea and honey this morning because I knew this was we're doing this. But the reason I'm hoarse this time is because of a plant. Yeah, it is because of the corpse flower.
Corpse flower.
corpse flower.
That sounds bad.
It's. Have you ever seen one?
No.
Did you see Little Shop of Horrors?
Yes.
They look like that.
Really?
Well, okay, but
but
with
not that big.
A large.
It's not eating people.
It's that big. It's that crazy looking.
Really?
Yeah. You want to see?
Yeah.
Okay.
A corpse flower.
I know all about
So
this
Do you know about
would
this flower?
not-
Okay, so let me give you the background while he hands me my...
Okay, so corpse
I don't wanna
flower
get
though,
out of
it's not like you. It's. This is.
I've got a crazy picture.
interesting.
So this is okay. So here's the deal with the corpse flower. They have a set of them at the Missouri Botanical Garden, which is one of the places that I'm a research associate. And last year,
You want me to record this?
you probably
Well,
do. Corpse flower is pretty
Should
interesting.
we record? We should probably start. We should probably
That's
start,
true.
and then we
corpse flower is super interesting
because
research.
that's really okay. But let me just make sure. So I have you as assistant professor of biology at Maryville University. What is your new title?
I am
had
an
a feeling that was
associate
wrong.
professor.
See,
I am
I
now
knew it.
tenured.
I knew it. I thought
Yeah,
that. I
damn
thought
Skippy don't
is
skip
she-
that.
So associate professor.
Of biology.
All right. I knew it when I was.
I was not tenured when I gave the TED Talk, so my bio is a little out of date.
That's okay. It's funny because when I was typing it up, I thought, I bet you this is wrong. I bet she's no longer an assistant person, so I have to. I have to
Assistant
get
professor
her.
for 5 years.
All
Here
right,
you go.
cool.
I'm going to show you something really freaky. That's a corpse flower.
Oh my gosh, it is that big.
Oh yeah. Here for perspective, this is us running a bunch of. Yeah. So that you know what
Is
these
that
look like.
the?
You have
Is
one,
this
right?
that at our gardens right now?
This is. She's not blooming anymore, but she was blooming 24 hours ago. So
Oh,
here are
she's
my
quick.
students up on top of things. I can give this to you on like a 5-minute bite here. Look how big it is. Yeah.
Oh my
Where's
gosh!
our team? There's our team. See?
that is
It's
wacky.
the Maryville team. We're
Oh
collecting-
wait, can I show everybody? Can
Well,
we show them? Or we can't show them?
No, you can. I just want to find where I'm not eating my hair.
Okay, no eating hair ones.
Yeah, there you go. That's the Maryville team.
All right, Maryville team behind corpse flower. Can you guys see that? Look at that thing!
I can give it to you too. It's up
Oh
on
my
Twitter.
gosh, that's so cool.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
Doug
okay.
Lindsay's are. Hi, Doug. Hi, Sherry. All my buddies.
Okay. So yes, if you want to get started, that's great, and then I will.
Yeah, we got to
I can
talk
tell you
corpse
really-
'cause that's fascinating.
give you a nice intro for why I'm hoarse.
Okay, cool.
It's,
All right.
And it's very St. Louis.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
All right, Rich, you say when. Hi, this is Mich Hancock, and you are listening to Mishmash, a place where I get to talk to the weird, wacky, wonderful people of this world, people I adore and want to know more about. Today, my guest is Kyra Krakos. Kyra is an associate professor of biology at Maryville University, where she engages students and the community in the wonders and importance of science. Hello, Kyra.
Hello, Mitch. Thank you for
How
having
are
me.
you?
I am good. I'm good. It's
So-
lovely to be here.
I have to start with that when you came and you're like, I have a hoarse voice. And we started talking about why you have a hoarse voice. And then I said, stop, because we should talk about this because this is so interesting. So why do you have a hoarse voice today?
It's a plant's fault.
All those damn plants.
Yes.
Which you kind of, let's start with that actually.
Yeah.
You kind of know a little bit about plants.
It's sort of my thing.
Give us a little background on why you know about plants, and then we're going to corpse.
Okay. So, and by the way, the corpse flower is a side project. I always have so many interesting side projects happening.
But I know from your TEDxGatewayArch talk that this has been a thing with you for a long time. Like you were a little kid and went,
I
plants.
mess with plants.
That's my
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. So I'm a professor of biology, but my PhD is in the ecology and evolution of plant sex. So I've been looking at the evolution and ecology of plants for a long time. And the research in my lab focuses on plant-pollinator interactions, what happens with climate change. So I'm also an associate at the Missouri Botanical Garden, which is such a tremendous resource for plants. We're just such a
Right.
wonderful community. And so, like my students and myself, we do a lot of research out at Shaw Nature Reserve. All summer, I have 10 of them out there this summer. It's a great pack of students. They're
Fun.
bright students. And so that's the main thing that my lab does.
Got ya.
And then lots of interesting things happen when you're messing with plants. So pollinators is where I focus. That's what my TED Talk was
Right.
on. And looking at the impacts of changes and things like that. But it also means that there's lots of things about the evolution of plants and how they attract pollinators that I find really interesting. They get very elaborate in the way they attract pollinators.
Yeah.
So this corpse flower, okay?
Corpse
A
flower,
lot of people
which
know
is
about corpse
huge.
flowers.
It is a big corpse flower. It's very
Yes, it is a very big plant, and this one was particularly large. Her name is Otavia.
big. Octavia.
And this actually was something that happened. So last year, one of my students was looking at scent chemistry and bringing in pollinators, and he was working out at Shaw. And he saw that the corpse flower at the garden, one of them, they have kind of a set of them, was blooming. And they don't do that often, like 4 to 7 years.
Really?
Yeah, and they grow this giant...
So when it's going to bloom, it's like, now's the
monstrous.
time to go see it.
Right. So we were joking
Interesting.
because what never happens to us is that, you're on call. That's not a botanist thing. Maybe like, okay, we've got to be, I've been on call in the sense that, okay, the monsoons are going to hit or not hit, so we do need to go in a few weeks or not because
Right.
the plants will bloom.
Right.
I've never had like a pager. But there we were. Last year with Izzy.
Plant emergency.
Yeah,
Plant
so
emergency.
we got permission from the garden. We said we'd like to come collect scent on the corpse flower. And so there we are. We're watching the live feed, and we've got our phones and this wonderful horticulturist who runs that section of the plants, Emily. She let us know because you didn't know, was it going to go tonight? Was it going to go the next night? They open at night.
Right.
We know she's forming a bloom.
Right.
But what night? And you get one night.
Wow. So
So
it's
then
like literally hours. They bloom
yeah.
for like hours and like, okay, I'm done. I'll
About
be back in
24.
4 to 7
Yeah.
years.
And we wanted to hit peak scenting time and things like that. So anyway, I actually, on Friday, so that was last year, and we got sent on Izzy, and that data was just presented actually at the National Botanical Society meetings, and it was great. So lo and behold, another corpse flower is going to bloom. And this is so crazy because they don't do it this often. And Ellie says, guys, and they just named her Octavia.
Okay.
Which was lovely. That was
Who
totally
named her?
my
Was it the
the garden did.
the garden,
And
okay.
they were sort of taking, votes and things. And they were thinking about some names. And I was like, no, Octavia is fantastic.
I love Octavia. That feels
Wonderful.
corpse flower. Looking at her, it really fits.
It works. If you don't know what a corpse flower looks like, whoever's listening, the 5 of you, go Google that, and then make sure you have somebody standing next to it so I had to be up on a ladder to lower our instruments down into the corpse flower.
Oh my
I wasn't joking when I said,
gosh.
"Have you seen Little Shop of Horrors?" Think Audrey
That
too.
big. I
Monstrous.
seriously would not have ever. That's not in my mind. I thought it was just a tiny little.
No,
No.
they're beasts. So Sunday, so we knew somewhere in the next 2 weeks, Octavia was going to bloom. So I have some brand new students in my lab who've just been trained on scent collection. And Friday I was leaving to go river rafting with my kids. No, access or whatever. So I said, you guys will be fine. If she goes, you're going to be great.
Just go. Yeah.
I get home Sunday morning, and I have a lot of text messages from them that say, she didn't bloom, this is good. And she bloomed that night. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am wiped out after being on the river.
Well, I was wondering, I'm like, aren't you a little tired?
Yeah. I didn't want a corpse flower to bloom Sunday night. I wanted to go to bed at 6.
Octavia did not get the note.
She did not get the memo, but it was great. So we got there at about 11 o'clock at night. And it was amazing. I have some pictures. The line to see her was wrapped around the front of the building. Thousands of people showed up.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So when we're collecting this scent data in the pictures, it's 2 in the morning. Because it's after the crowds are gone and they close the doors at 1 or whatever it is. And then at 1:30, the last people go through and then we can set up. And have you ever smelled a corpse flower?
Well, I have to say no.
Okay. So you can
I
guess.
didn't even know there was one until
what they smell like.
Yeah, probably not very yummy.
They're not great.
No.
Yeah. So the compounds that are in them are associated with moldy cheese and rotting flesh and fecal matter and jasmine.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Jasmine.
But that jasmine's one of those scents that people can smell different ways.
Okay.
Kind of like cilantro.
Gotcha.
Some people love.
Some people love
like
it.
me,
Some people
put
do
it
not.
everywhere.
Yep.
Other people go, this tastes like soap. What's wrong with you?
That's true.
Chemistry's odd.
Yeah.
So, so we just got the data and we're running it through the GCMS now. So yeah, and this was, Davey was huge. But what it means is I got home at like 3:30 in the morning and then, your life starts on Monday. And so I am a titch horse because of a plant.
Because of a plant.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then, what is the insect? Is it flies that are attracted to the corpse flower? Because it's such a yucky smelling.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's fly pollinated.
Yeah.
And then she has another neat trick. So she blooms. She has this crazy nasty scent that, is whatever. One of my poor students.
Now, could people that were there smell it? Were people like going through the line and like, woo?
Oh, you can smell it outside
Octavia.
the building. Yeah, you can smell it outside the building. You get in the building and it's like,
A little toxic.
and then I had my newest student, Alex, bless her heart. She said, well, I think this is, it smells horrible, like you're at the dump, but it's not, we can work. And I'm like, come up the stepladder. Put your head on down in there. And then she like gagged and pulled her shirt over. And my other student, Xavier, he said that he got home and he was just so wiped out. He just crashed out, right? And these cats that people he was staying with like started coming up and hanging out on him and licking him. And he really needed to take off his clothes. And yeah. So Octavia had done a bit of a number. But her other neat trick is that she heats up. So that big, tall, phallic part of her, the spathe, heats up like quite a bit, like not a few degrees, like up to 100 degrees.
Really?
And yeah, because think about this for a second from the evolutionary standpoint. I love to think about what would be the pressure for this. Well, when does your garbage smell worse? Hot or cold weather?
Interesting.
Nothing is worse than garbage out on a hot summer Missouri day, right? The scent goes farther. And so if you're only going to bloom once every 4 years, you are all in.
Right.
Yeah.
Do it big.
Right. So we measured the uptick in temperature, and we took her temperature literally.
Yeah.
And then we collected her scent, and measured her. She's just huge.
That is awesome.
And that's a side project.
Oh, and it's
There you go.
just one of those things I do on the side.
If a plant is doing something interesting, I will show up.
You will be on call. You will have the pager.
Not that kind of doctor usually, but this time I was.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to take a quick break, and
Okay.
we'll be right back with Kyra.
All right.
That is so interesting.
So I hope that's interesting. It was fascinating to me is the
Super
thousands of
interesting.
people that show up.
Well, I had no idea that it was. I mean, I'm not a big time follower of what's going on at the Missouri Botanical Garden, but my parents are. So I'm surprised my parents didn't know about it.
People flip out about this plant. And I don't mean like plant people. I mean, there were teenagers there. Apparently there's an anime character that is hatched from a corpse flower. So this whole weird crowd was there.
Oh, yeah, all the what is it
Manga
called?
people were there.
Yeah.
There was they're older people, younger. You cannot predict the demographic.
That is
Thousands.
so interesting.
Yeah. It's a plant with a real following.
Wow.
Love
Okay, I think that's a good name for a band then.
Plant with a following?
Just corpse
Corpse
plant.
flower. I have no
flower.
doubt. I know there's like it's not a Disney character, but Monster High.
Oh yeah,
There's
that
a
was
character from Monster High. It's a kids show.
Yeah.
And one of them has been hatched. And the reason I know this is because there were a bunch of little girls came in with their Monster High dolls, and they wanted to like take a picture with it in front of the flower.
Interesting.
No, weird. Yeah.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Humans get hooked on really weird things.
I'll tell you. I don't know. I feel kind of like I'm.
You know what a
left
corpse
out.
flower was?
I
But
did,
can you
because
imagine
I'm
walking
weird.
through?
It's because I'm
well,
weird.
see, Rich is so weird.
it.
He
I
would
love it.
know that.
Okay, this is the only plant that I know of or work with that has a Latin name that I don't feel comfortable
Oh,
translating
don't
for
say.
children.
Oh, wait, say it.
Well, it's Amorphophallus titanum,
Amorphophallus
which that's the Latin for
for corpse flower.
giant misshapen penis.
Oh, poor corpse flower. So she's a she.
You want to take another look at her?
Well,
but she's a hermaphrodite.
She's a hermaphrodite then.
Yeah.
Because but are most plants hermaphrodites? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Flowering plants often.
Flower
I mean, you do have not, but the majority.
Interesting.
Yeah. But
See
you
all
can
the
see
things
why.
you learn
See?
here. This is why.
And you know what happens after 24
it
hours?
Is kind of
This
misshapen,
goes
I'm
limp
sorry.
and falls over because it's done.
Oh my goodness! You know what is so
there.
funny is just last week. In fact, I
Did
just
you
put
say
it up.
I've been there?
Just last week, I had a sex therapist on. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm seeing that we're going to need to get you two in a room together.
Well,
and
it's
have a really
plants.
interesting conversation.
I said this in my TED Talk, right? Plants are, they're very sexual. They're really
Yeah.
up to all the things you recognize.
You just don't realize it when you're walking past them. They're up to some things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, are we ready to start up
Okay.
again? Oh, I don't need these yet. Not yet. Next time. Okay, ready. So we are back with Kyra, who was talking about the corpse plant
is not my
flower,
main
which
research, but
which
yeah.
was so interesting. But you do have very interesting stories, and you were saying that let's just the TEDx talk.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up a very interesting story in the TEDx talk that didn't have to do with a plant. You were looking at plants, but you had a friend show up with big teeth. The alligator.
Oh
Remember
my
the
gosh, that's
alligator
right.
Story? You have the alligator
Yeah,
story in
yeah.
there. So tell us about your alligator.
You want to hear the alligator
experience.
story again?
Well, I mean,
Or version of it? Yeah.
let's for the people out there, because I thought because there's an interesting. Just go.
Okay,
Tell
it's fine. Okay, so collecting plants, anytime you work in the field, you're going to have stories.
Right.
I think it's the same way anytime you work with just sort of out in the community, people are interesting
Right.
and nature is interesting and unpredictable. So I had a young undergrad with me. And she and I were out collecting what's called a voucher. So you always have to bring back, and it's a very important part of plant research, you always have to voucher the population you're working on.
Okay.
Because otherwise you come back with all this data. What if the plant that you thought it was isn't?
Oh,
Right.
Gotcha.
So you always want to, so like at Missouri Botanical Garden, that's a lot of what those herbarium sheets are, vouchers and things like that. So you want to always voucher your plant. This is the plant
So
I was working
the voucher is kind of like a.
It's a reference.
This is the gotcha.
It is your
Okay.
plant reference.
Gotcha,
Yes,
gotcha.
it's like part of your library.
All right.
Very important. And you can imagine, especially once you're doing genetic work, taking a sample of, a genetic, a little piece of a leaf, and you run the genetics of it. Like, yeah, but what plant did this come from? Not what
Right.
you say, but what
Right.
it really is.
Right. Gotcha.
So vouchers are important. And I say that because we were there, and it was our last day in this population. It's along a river, the Cape Fear River, of all things, in North Carolina.
That's
It was a little tributary.
appropriate name
Appropriate.
for-
We'd hopped a fence. We were down by the Cape Fear River. And all week we'd been warned, listen, it is alligator breeding season. You definitely don't want to be down by the rivers. But, plants bloom when plants bloom. And we didn't see any alligators. No alligators.
Right.
And so we were down by the river's edge collecting our vouchers. Very important things to have.
Yes.
And it's our last day, and that's it. So I just pulled the vouchers, had them in my hand, and I heard my young assistant squeal like a small rodent. So this high pitched, and I turn around, and there is an alligator emerging from the river, and I mean, just bubbling up. And,
Oh my gosh.
and you kind of shut down, right? Like this part of your brain shuts down. And now you're in full, like...
You're in the lizard brain now.
Or really like my very small mammal brain, right? Like the little, I should say lizard brain, yes. But there is a lizard and I'm out.
And you're, yeah, gotcha.
It's not a lizard, but it's a reptile.
Right.
And I am not, And the little mammal brain is like, flee.
Go.
So we did. We took off fast as we could. And I mean, you've never seen us move so fast. Back across the field, over the fence, to the car, because alligators move fast.
Yeah, they move faster than people think.
We had, lots of people had helpfully showed us videos, and we were not waiting to see how fast this thing, and it's breeding season, they're aggressive, I mean, who knows?
Right.
We were so fast. And we held on to our vouchers the whole time, which is like the great part of the story. But the craziest part of that story is that I was like 6 months pregnant.
Right.
I was huge. And there's a picture of that in my TED Talk. And you're like, oh, so she's big. Yeah, I don't have pregnancies where you're like what I call like a TV pregnancy. Like at month 7, you get a cute little basketball. No, I'm like a VW bus.
I did too. I was the same way with my daughter. And she was actually little.
I have small babies too.
Oh my gosh, I was humongous.
Yeah. But my body builds like a duplex, with like a swimming pool and an extra spare room. No, there's no part of me that's not, and everything puffs up. I'm just like a tick. And it's awful. It's so unattractive. And there I am, running around.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is, but how freaky. That would scare the heck out of me. Yeah.
Field work.
But good job for you being so quick on your feet.
Well, that was survival.
Yes.
But then I like to think that I still have my voucher because I'm a scientist.
Right.
And
I did not.
This is not going to
let go of this.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us another, you have lots of stories. Is there another crazy story? I love the stories. This is great.
Out in the field?
Yeah.
Well, field stories, I mean, there's a lot of, really fun field stories. And then there's also like really, strange things that happen. More human interest, I guess you could say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so 2 years ago, this was part of a National Geographic grant. And I was tracking it's called Enithera neelii and Enithera cephalta, and we're looking for hybrids. And anyway, the point is we were out in West Texas.
Okay.
The mountains of West Texas. I've been in the mountains of West Texas a lot, and that's strange because there's not a lot out there. But
Gotcha.
Some of my plants, the Enitheras that I work on the evolution of plants, bloom out there. So I've been out there a lot. Really good food. In Alpine, Texas, which is the only town
Good
out there.
to know.
There's some other small towns. Marfa is out there. Their claim to fame is that they think aliens land there.
Very fun for them.
Whatever works. I think you're really like...
I want to go now.
There's nothing there. I mean,
well, that's why aliens go there.
Yeah.
So, like, the
There's
people
good
won't
plants.
bother them.
And Alpine is where you sort of stock up if you're going to Big Bend National Park, which is one of the most beautiful places on the planet. But it's not close. Nothing's close in West Texas. But there are mountains. Yeah. So I had a team with me, these 2 young men. And we were out. So what we would do is, this is a night blooming plant.
Okay.
But it's very hard for humans to find things in the middle of the night.
Right.
So we were looking for these
in the middle
populations.
of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. So it's not like there's lights or anything.
Right.
So we had this really weird schedule where we'd get up at 4 a.m. and the plant would bloom until about 9 or 10 and then shrivel. And once it's shriveled up, you can't find it. And we had about 1,600 square miles to cover. So, strategically from our midpoint, we would just tear along these country roads as far as you can, and then hike and search and hike and search and hike and search until about 10 a.m. And then you pack it up and head back and, sleep off the heat of the day.
Oh my gosh.
And,
that's a lot of work.
Yes. And sure. Yeah. That's field work, right? Where you're
that's like what field work looks like most of the time.
And then we would eat and sleep in the middle of the day, and then at about 5 or 6 o'clock we would gear up for the evening when we go track pollinators, probably back at that same population where we'd found the plant, and then sleep a couple hours from like between midnight and 4, and then do it all again.
Oh my gosh.
And we were sent out and we were hoping to find 1 or 2 populations. We found like 7 or 9 total. I say there's an ambiguousness there because of, again, is the population you found actually genetically what you're looking for?
Right, yeah.
And that kind of thing. So it was a very successful trip. But we were coming back through one of these, I hesitate to say small town, but there was a roadside sign, and this man was selling curse oil. He was a shaman, which is weird because you're in Texas, not... like
Yeah,
mine
I
ruins,
gotcha,
but that's
right.
fine, you know, whatever works for people. So he was like, curse oil. So I pull off instantly. Like,
Yeah,
if someone's going to do something like that, I'm going to show up.
let's check out what curse oil is.
Right. And so, and I didn't buy it. I would have in a heartbeat, but it was like $50. But I did get a picture of the label, and it was actually really useful. It said it was good for, you ready?
I'm ready.
Curses,
Aptly named, therefore.
Ebola,
Oh,
and herpes.
dang.
So I looked at
That's
this
some
and I
interesting
thought, right.
curse oil.
So I thought, wow, you know, this could be useful. And this is for someone having a very bad day.
Very bad.
Very bad day.
I mean, you go, you're like, oh, okay, so what is the curse of? Oh, yeah, Ebola. I better
And
get
you're
some.
cursed. You have Ebola, you have herpes, and you're cursed. And this would take care of it. It's magnificent.
Did you ask what was in it?
Oh, that was a frowned upon
Oh, that
question.
was a no-no.
One of my undergraduates asked that, of course, immediately. The other one was eye rolling it out in the car. He just couldn't. He's like, what?
You're not supposed to ask the shaman what's in their special oils.
No.
So
That was great.
You know what? That
Yeah.
shaman should have stepped up when the Ebola stuff was happening then.
I guess you know, I didn't ask for his credentials.
I gotcha.
But it felt a little not legit.
more like snake oil, perhaps, than curse oil.
A titch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was just, he had some canola oil.
You know, there are,
selling
you know, down in
$50 for this. It's going to take care of a lot of stuff. And, you know, it's not like you're going to rush back to take it back when it doesn't work. It didn't get rid of my Ebola.
No, it didn't. That didn't work out. Yeah, and the of course, yeah, because there are actually real shamans.
Yes, absolutely.
Who are down in much deeper regions of South
Right.
America, which actually they are in the ones that are still around, incredible botanists. You know, they're living libraries of knowledge of plants. And
yes.
that is actually really important information, and ethnobotanists work with them all the time, and it's that's a legit
Shaman.
thing.
Yeah.
I felt like I hadn't found one of those.
Yeah, not there.
No, that's right.
No.
So it was
much,
fun.
So much for that, shaman. Well, that is interesting, ma'am. Thank you. We're going to take another quick break, and we will be right back. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fun. I like the human interest side of field research.
Oh, gosh. Well, you just got to wonder. And you got to wonder why he chose those three for the oil to be. You know what
Big
I mean?
sellers.
Like, you know, I know that's the curses that covers a lot of people.
Trifecta.
And then,
Yeah.
then there's herpes, you know, and Ebola. Whoo.
You could cure.
So,
yeah.
you
So
know,
yeah.
if you're running down to where there's Ebola, just go to West Texas
I guess,
first.
yeah.
You go there first and
Solid
find
choice.
the guy.
I just love it. I love it when people are just, human interest stuff is awesome.
Humans are interesting. Okay, now I'm
Yes.
going to ask you questions.
Okay.
Our fun questions.
Yeah, but I feel like I haven't given you like.
Oh no,
weird
that's how this
stories.
works. We chat, and then we. All right, I'm ready. Okay, we are back with Kyra, and I have questions.
Okay.
So here you are, plant scientist. Okay, what kind of flowers did you have at your wedding?
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
seriously.
Actually, that's an easy question.
Okay.
Irises. I adore them.
Your favorite?
Absolute. Yeah, they're the
Yeah.
most beautiful monocot. And I don't study them. You know, they're ornamentals. But no, our entire wedding was just black and white, and then irises were the only color. They were everywhere. I
Really?
carried them. They were on the tables. Yeah, everything.
Oh, how fun. I had
Yeah.
to ask you because I was
Yeah.
thinking, as a plant scientist, like,
I know. I should have had like some beautiful bouquet of like, you know, native species or pollinator flowers, etc. I know a lot of my friends have actually did that.
Okay.
But I just purely aesthetically just turned
That was-
cartwheels for irises.
then
They're stunning.
then you did the perfect thing.
Yeah.
But you just got to wonder, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. just
I
did
love
beautiful.
it. You sort of answered this
Okay.
in between time, but you might have a different one. I was going to say, what is there any plant that has a name that you just love? Now, the one we talked about, which we can say,
Okay.
but you know, because we did that in between time. But I'm thinking if that's your favorite one, we should just say it.
Well, it's not my favorite one, and I will tell you that one.
All right,
But then I
so-
actually have kind of a neat story about a plant I helped name.
All right, so let's start with the one you said that was hilarious.
Well, so we were talking about corpse flower, and I said, you know, this is a plant that has a Latin name that I don't feel comfortable translating for like children and grandmothers. So the Latin name of a corpse flower is Amorphophallus titanum. And that means giant misshapen penis. Which is exactly what it looks like and is.
Yeah. So it's that. Look up corpse flower, guys.
Yeah.
One that's bloomed, and there you go.
Yeah. And
You'll get it.
You'll get it. Yeah.
But tell us your other one.
Oh, okay. So this is actually a really touching story. So I had, during my dissertation, I had these 53 Enotheras that I was tracking across North America. That's a lot of plants to try and find. It takes a lot of people, great networks of naturalists and nature societies and plant societies and gardens who...
Do I know what an Enothera looks like?
Yes, you do. That's an evening primrose.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help? I'm so sorry. I should have told you that. Yeah, we have lovely ones here in Missouri. But there was one that I needed to find, and it was out in New Mexico. And it was up in, again, I didn't know this, there's mountains in New Mexico.
There's all kinds of...
Like,
did you grow up here in Missouri?
No, I grew up in the Bay Area, in California.
Okay. All right.
So I'm like a city kid.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So we traveled out to New Mexico. Now, the last time that this plant was collected, and at the time its name was Enothera colorensis neomexicana, and it was a subspecies, but it's not really, and whatever. So the last time it was collected was back in the early 70s by Dr. Peter Raven.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So he was my advisor. So I said, so Peter, I'm trying to, I'm gonna have to go out to New Mexico. I need to find this Enothera. And he goes, yeah, it's in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, little town up in the top of the mountains there. I'm like, right, in 1972. So I don't know about you guys, but a lot of things get Walmarts put up,
right,
parking lots, it's just up. So I'm like, okay. And so I kind of pushed him. I said, so I see that in the notes, right? It says 2 miles from the center of town, but I'm any other info? And he goes, yeah, it's there. It's no problem.
Has the center of town changed, maybe?
Any info, yeah. So he goes, no, I'll be fine. I said, okay. Well, here's the thing. Peter Raven's always right.
Oh,
he was dead right. So I get to Cloudcroft, and it looks like the set for Bonanza.
Interesting.
And it's darling, but it's literally one wooden street. And so I go to the center of town, and I pull out my little GPS. I hit go. And I'm like, well, which direction? Well, it turns out there's only one road. So that was fine.
Okay.
So I drove 2 miles down, and I climbed out, and I looked around. I'm like, it's a lot of money to get to Cloudcroft. You've only got your grad student. You have so much in your research budget. Like, oh my gosh.
I've spent all my budget just to
get
on this road.
I have mom. I have my 10-week-old baby, and I have an undergrad assistant. We've all flown out there. I'm all in, right? Trusting this plant will be there. So I get out 2 miles from the center of town. I was air quoting there. And I was on the radio. And there was, there's like some fenced areas or whatever, and I'm wandering around in ditches. Enotheras grow in ditches, so that's fine. I'm not seeing anything. And then across the street I see one plant, and I'm like, oh, I think that's it. So I go over and I'm looking, I'm like, it could be it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is one. So I climb the fence and look over the fence, and there's this gorgeous field full of hundreds of my plants.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, hello, So I do what botanists really learn to do well, which is you talk to landowners, right? So I go up to I leave everybody in the car, and I put on my best non-threatening, I'm a botanist, not with the government or anything kind of face. And I go up and knock on this farmhouse door, and there were this lovely couple, retired couple, the Dojans, and that was their farm. It was their mountain, actually, their hillside there. And I explained what I was doing. I wanted to look at the pollinators, and they turned out to be, they were just lovely. They said, we would love to have you guys come and study here. And this was lovely because it's nighttime work, and that can be dangerous on roadsides. And they said, please come and be on our land. We're so honored and excited. And then, and even better, they said, we've been trying to be more sustainable, conservation conscious, and we've been battling the invasive species, but not with pesticides, by hand, cutting them down like the boa thistles. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are just, it's like a fantasy for me, right? Like,
oh my gosh.
Not only are you not spraying your land so that
right.
Insecticides do not care if you're a pollinator or something damaging. And so, it was wonderful, and they were lovely people, and it was just fantastic. They said they were open to having, other people come and visit. Now, to get hold of them, there's not email. You have to page, and they go into town and call. It's really hard to get hold of them.
Wow. Okay.
So anyway, so we go back, and it turns out, after doing some genetic work later on, about a year later, that this species of Venethera is actually its own species. It's not a subspecies. So myself and Warren Wagner, we have to rename it. And he said, so any thoughts on the naming? And I said, well, I think it'd be really lovely if we named it after the Dojans. And I told him the story, and he goes, absolutely.
That's so cool.
So there is now Venethera dogenia, and it's named after them. But the best part was when I called them. It took a bit of doing.
Right.
And sent them the scientific paper that showed, the name and all the rest of it. And Mr. Dojans, his wife actually got on the phone, and she said, oh, he's got the whole family here, like a family reunion to tell them all about that there's a plant now named after our family. She said, well, I'll put him on the phone, but he's been so emotional all morning, he's going to have to take a minute.
That is so sweet.
It was wonderful, right?
I love it. What
so
a cool gift to give somebody.
So we got to honor these lovely people who were doing their part to take care of the planet. And showing such great stewardship over their land.
And honor them.
And now
love
they
it.
have a plant named after them.
That is a sweet story.
It's
Thank
great.
you for that. Oh, I'm glad I asked that one. Okay.
Way better than the corpse flower.
Well, hey, we gotta hit all,
High, low.
Yeah, we gotta hit it all. Is there a plant that does not need a pollinator? Is there?
Lots of them.
Really?
Yeah, lots of them.
See, I wouldn't have known this.
Yeah, lots of plants. If they're what's called self-compatible, so it means that they can use if they're hermaphrodite, if they can use their own pollen on their own stigma and create fruit, then it's all in house. And then there's also
no insects are needed.
Nope.
No wind is needed.
All in
it's
house.
Just, wow.
Venethera folios like that. There's a lot of plants that are self-compatible.
Okay.
And you can see why. It's reproductive assurance.
Gotcha.
And then a lot of plants also will be, they get better seed set with pollinators, outcross pollen. But in a pinch, they will self-pollinate and they can do it.
Gotcha. So I have a weird
inbreeding's
question.
bad, though,
Are
by and
weeds
large.
that way because weeds are so hardy? Is that
Great question, actually.
Okay,
yeah,
thank
great
you.
question. There's two. So, I was going to say, though, the other thing that was like wind-pollinated plants, water-pollinated plants. A wind-pollinated plant where the wind is moving their pollen around. A lot of gymnosperms, so like your Christmas tree family, or wind-pollinated in cones. They tend to be wind-pollinated. You don't need a pollinator then. A lot of things are wind-pollinated.
Gotcha.
But, yes.
Weeds.
So, weeds. So there's two groups, actually. And you could call them weeds, or you could call them pioneer species.
See, I'm just going to tell you real quickly. I am not I don't understand plants at all. So I'm like the opposite of you. But one time my husband was like, we really have to take care of our yard, and there's this part, and it's yucky, and we got to clean it out. And he's like, you got to clean the weeds. And so off he went, and I'm like looking at this patch thinking, which ones are weeds? I have no idea, right? So he's like, why aren't you doing something with this? I'm like, well, which ones are weeds? He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I have no idea. He's like, well, that's a weed, and that's a weed, and he's pointing these out to me. And I was like, well, I don't think we should take them out. Those are good-looking plants. They want to be there. They're hardy. I mean, more power to them. Keep them there.
So if it's an invasive species, I think it's a weed and should go. But yes, we can call them weedy plants.
Okay.
But pioneer species, so weeds, there's certain traits that make a plant a good pioneer.
Okay.
Right? So things that grow fast, right? Because they're going to have to compete in a new environment very quickly.
Right.
So something that pops up and grows really fast so it can get sun and is good at that. Low needs, right? Low maintenance plants. So not something that has like a very specific pollinator or, gosh, I need a lot of water.
Right.
Or any kind of high maintenance, not a pioneer species.
Right.
Things that are self-compatible.
Gotcha.
Great pioneer species, right? And one of the interesting places you see these is on islands. There's higher rates of self-incompatible species on islands than on mainlands because who made it?
Right.
Right?
True.
You got blown off or you were carried by a bird or whatever. Lots of species got dispersed to the island, but who could hack it?
Gotcha.
Right? Until over thousands and millions of years, those relationships with pollinators form and evolution takes place. But it means the ancestors of island species who colonized were probably self-compatible.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so there's higher rates of self-compatibility in islands. Even where you'll find, like, there was some research I did on some hibiscus species. And even though I see like hibiscus, they have this big, tall column.
Right.
They've really separated their male and female parts because inbreeding's bad and you don't want to do it. Right? It's not good. Everybody knows that, right? Like that's a thing. You get, you're healthier without it. But a lot of them, even though most of their seeds, they pair up with pollinators, honey creepers, and all kinds of things. They have these elaborate pollination systems. I mean, hibiscus are pretty elaborate.
Right.
They form these coevolutionary relationships over huge amounts of time. But a lot of them, if you take that pollen from the top and move it down, from the bottom and move it up to the top to the female part, they will still be self-compatible. It's just sort of a leftover trait hanging out.
Interesting.
Probably from their ancestor that was self-compatible.
Oh my gosh. See, I have a whole new appreciation for plants because you were here.
Well, they want to survive, right? They want to survive and reproduce. And if you can't move, then you've got to be wily.
Wily. I love that word. So what's next for you? What are you working on now?
So currently, I'm helping develop the new sustainability program at Maryville. We have a really fantastic, innovative, cross-discipline approach to teaching sustainability. It's a major and a minor.
Very cool.
To be honest, my goal is that every major eventually has a sustainability minor. And one of the reasons is because sustainability is not like a science problem.
Right.
It's a human problem.
Exactly.
We need everybody. We need the business people. We need industry. We need artists. We need everybody.
I love that.
Involved in stewardship of the planet.
Right.
And I think if every major has a sustainability minor, we'll get there faster.
I like it. That's an awesome goal.
And then also because Maryville is this is a digital world campus where a lot of our classes now take place outside the classroom. We're mobile because of all the students have these iPads and so forth. So we can do real time kind of events. So for instance, I taught one of the first of the new sustainability classes this last spring. 13 of the 15 weeks were not in the classroom.
Really?
They were in the greater St. Louis region.
Oh,
Anywhere in a
how
2-hour
cool.
radius. Yeah. And we were at industries, we were at Superfund sites, we were at Cahokia Mounds, and the students, we were running all of the classroom, any digital portion was right there on site with their iPads, but we were not in the classroom.
So interesting.
And it turns out students really learn well.
I bet because
in a
it keeps
interactive
you
environment.
awake and being in a classroom. And with what you do, it wouldn't make sense to just hang out in a
and
classroom.
sitting and talking about things is fine, and you can do it with slides, but so much more impactful to stand like on the top of the Cahokia Mound,
right,
and talk about this lost civilization and how their resources were managed and what we know and what we don't know about the mound builders, and talk about the connection to sustainability. And then because it's cross-discipline, then, I read them poetry and at the end of the class and up at the top.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Kubla Khan, and talk about the fall of the empire. And so I'm a very cross-discipline person, right? I love plants, I love science, and I love connecting it to art and industry and everywhere else, and history and things. And so it was a very popular course. And that was sort of one of the first of the signature exploration courses that we'll run in the new major. Yeah.
Well, Kyra, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's such awesome. I love the stories. I love everything. It's great. Thank you so much.
Fast.
Totally. I know it always does, right?
I know. Yeah.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well,
why don't we talk about plants?
I know. I've been wanting you to come here forever. Is what I was saying in the beginning. I was like, when are you off school so you can come in and do a podcast with me?
I am off on summers and of course in December, and that kind of thing.
Right.
But like this December, I'll be in the Galapagos running one of the sustainability courses. We're taking 25 students on a course there. We're doing some combo classes with evolutionary psychology and evolutionary biology and sustainability. And
how interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Yay.
Yeah, they'll do 3 courses while they're there. And so yeah, it's busy.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Kyra.
Thank you.
And everyone out there, you've been listening to Mishmash. Please go to iTunes and subscribe. Thank you so much. We'll catch you later. That was so interesting.
That was so fun. And you know what? We never talked about the Medicis.
We didn't talk about the
Medicis. So you have to have me back. Because I already have, just from the one talk I did at WashU, I already have 3 more speaking invites.
Really?
Plants, Politics, and Power of the Last Medici Princess.
So do you know...
Is that NPR bait or what?
Do you know, right? Do you know about Medici here at Medici Media Space?
I don't.
Okay, so that is like, that's what's like, wait, did I talk to her about Medici Media Space?
No.
Or, because it's a business collaborative. And so, yeah, I mean, I hang out at a place called Medici
That's
a
awesome.
lot.
So I saw one of your podcasts was by somebody who's talking about that. The last Medici princess, Anna Maria Luisa, she ruled as a single female. Her husband had died, her brother died, her father died. She had no heirs. How does a woman do that in the 16th century?
Ooh.
Yeah, so she formed alliances all over Europe, and the way she did it was with her plants. Yeah.
That is fascinating.
It's absolutely riveting. And so she had these medicinal mixtures, right? She called them recipes. And the most famous one was for infant fever. And it's requested, I mean, it's in the archives from, like, you know, dukes and princes and kings and all these, you know, and she sends it out.
Right.
And then, of course, you know, if you save the Duke of so-and-so's son, then he is in your debt.
Right.
And so she used her medicines of all kinds from her family's pharmacies, these big gardens they built over the years for 200 years, her family business of the medicines in her pharmacies in Florence to maintain and promote her political power all over Europe.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
that's
so
so
really cool. My
cool.
collaborator on this is the historian Ashley Buchanan, and she has the exclusive rights, and her job is to translate Anna Maria's documents.
Okay.
Well, in the course of doing that, she found the folio with the 200 recipes that were absolutely proprietary, and nobody ever knew it was in them. Ever.
Really?
It's never been published. It's what the two of us are doing.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's so exciting.
It's so foxy, and they killed people. You know, like so. There's inheritance powders and political recipes.
Oh.
Yeah. They're poison gardens. They didn't call them poison gardens. They called them political gardens.
Oh, how interesting is that?
Don't
That
touch
is
those
so
plants.
Cool.
Yeah, but she was mostly looking at like these ones that would heal. And so what happened is Ashley was teaching at Study Abroad, and so was I. And we became like instant best friends. And we were on a boat, which is a great way for research projects to start.
Okay.
We're hanging on a boat by Capri, right? And she's like, I'm like, so tell me, you know, I'm so interested in her research. She's in these archives, and The Last Princess is just so cool. And
yeah.
this feminist aspect of a woman who could
This
rule
is a movie.
and form alliances, right?
Can we
and
write the
I know,
screenplay?
it's just so interesting. And Ashley said, well, she said, I have a question. She said, so I've been translating these recipes, and I don't know what this plant is. And she tells me the name of the plant. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I need a botanist. I'm like, okay. You know, she tells me the plant. I'm like, I have no idea. It's the common name from the 16th century.
Right. It may not have lasted.
Call something a rose, and it means something different everywhere in the world.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
And I go, but I know how to find out. Because Missouri Botanical Garden here in St. Louis, we have one of the finest rare books, botanical collections in the world. Stuff going back to the 13th century.
Really?
All up on top of that building. Yeah. And I said, so I can find out. So it took
is so
months.
fascinating. I mean, I had no idea. Like, I think of just you go to the gardens and you look at plants.
It looks like Dumbledore's library up there.
Really?
So I had no idea how difficult original document history research was. I had no clue. I had to learn like a whole bunch of things, and so did she. But what's in the recipes and what the plants do, because then so I figured out what one of the plants was for her from the main recipe.
Don't tell me Ebola, herpes,
No,
and
of course
not.
But here's the thing. Depending on the and once we could ID the plant, then you can look at the biochemistry of it, right?
Right.
Well, if it worked or not changes the story, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely changes the story. So we've done 2 of the recipes. It took us 6 months.
I bet. I was
From
gonna
me and
say,
my
that
team.
has to be really...
Because it's really, really difficult. It turns out you can't like Google it.
Right, no,
or look it
there's
up.
not- there's not a YouTube
It's really
video
hard.
on
But
how to
I have a
make
whole new
these.
respect for historians. Oh my gosh. So Ashley works on the history and the politics side of it, and I've been researching what are these plants.
That
And,
is so cool.
So it was really cool. We did 2 of them, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. You know, I said, how many do you have? She goes, 200. You know, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So she, you know, we have all the archives scanned, and she's translating, and again, it's a side project. And then I stick students on track and chew
But
these
that's
down.
awesome that you're paying attention. And
Well, I
doing
love
all
the
these
cross-discipline
cool-
thing,
yeah.
right? I love wading into areas that aren't mine,
Right.
but then, you know, but the plants
whole
that are so interesting.
collaboration
Yeah,
and what
I
can
love it.
happen.
Yeah. So yeah, Ashley's brilliant, and so we're gonna work on this for a couple of years, and then when we have probably about 20 or 30 of them done, we're gonna apply for a Fulbright and then write a book.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the plants and politics of the last Medici princess. I mean, wouldn't you want to hear about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So I gave the first, here's a first cut of data talk at WashU. Right. At the
Gotcha.
EPB seminar. It was just
Right.
my old department invited me back to a seminar. So I was literally walking in there with pictures of vellum that exist nowhere in the world except on my laptop, right?
gosh.
And Ashley's laptop. And if people just eat this stuff up, like, oh my gosh,
well,
it's so
it's
interesting.
so fascinating. And there's so many different types of interests that would go right.
So that's
into
what I
that.
wasn't expecting, right?
Yeah.
Is that I just, okay, I'll come do a talk, to the ecology and evolution group. And there were all these other people there from on the university. And then since then I've gotten, phone calls from people saying, so we're looking for the person. We hear you have a talk about a Medici princess and can we invite you? So there's this women's group I'm going to speak to, because I can do it for a science crowd or not.
Absolutely, right.
And that's just with 2 of the recipes.
That's so cool.
Yeah. One will kill you.
Let's not have that one.
Yeah. No, it's not good. These Ignatius beans. So the translation, this is where I needed Ashley. It says you put them in your little mouth.
Oh, was the little mouth not this little mouth?
You have 2 other mouths.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like, what does this mean? And Ashley's like, oh, okay. So as the historian, I'm going to help you out here. And I'm like, oh. So it's a vaginal suppository.
Gotcha.
But then the other side of it is that the Ignatius, it's the main component in it is strychnine. So I don't know what she did with these beans, but I know what she didn't do with the beans. She didn't put them in her little mouth.
That's really good.
Because she
That
died
was
of
good
old
advice.
age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And if she'd used the beans, she'd have died.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go stuffing beans in places. It's not good.
That is so interesting. All right, I'm going to turn.
Yeah, but
Bye,
the other one.
everybody.
Are we still on? Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that was so interesting.
But the other one probably did work.
Everybody.